Greetings Facebook, greetings YouTube, Bror Fredrik coming at you with another live video. And I realized I haven't done a talk and drive, so I thought I would do one today. There's a couple of questions that have been popular I wanted to address. And also our Governor Sisolak, he spoke earlier this afternoon, and I have some thoughts on that. I'm not going to go into depth about it because this is going out both to Facebook and YouTube, and I'm not sure if my YouTube subscribers want to hear the in-depth, so we're going to cover generalities, and we're also taking the back road to the Strip. So I'm going to give you a view of how I get to some of the properties from actually behind the properties. And right now we are on Dean Martin Boulevard. You can see Caesar's off right there. And let's go for a drive. So the two most popular questions that I get, well, there's three, but I'm not going to go into one of those. I'll address the two most popular ones that I get. One, and this ties into the speech today as well. One is, you spend a lot of time in the casinos. Do you feel safe? The short answer is yes. And here's the long answer. Why do I feel safe currently in the casinos with the outbreak that's going on? Because I understand that a lot of the subscribers who are not local, you're probably hearing a lot about our numbers, about how things are bad here and we're a hot spot and all that other type of stuff. That is not necessarily true. The media is doing a good job of taking anything they can and exaggerating it and turning it into somewhat of an issue. So it's not as bad as we think it is. So let me talk from a personal situation on whether and why I feel safe, and the answer again is yes. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the governor and what's been going on as far as our numbers go. So I feel safe in the casinos because I'll be quite honest with you. Regardless of, and now we're on Frank Sinatra Boulevard, and that is the Mirage that you see in front of you. And now we're going to take the back way behind the casinos and then pop out on the Strip. So here we go. I feel safe in the casinos because, quite frankly, and you can see in all the videos that I've been doing, all the walkthroughs, compliance is at an all-time high here in Vegas. I don't know about where you live, but here it's very high. I don't want to make this a political video on any level, so if you want to debate in the comments, I'll probably not get involved, and if it gets kind of a raucous, I'll start deleting them. So let's not make it political. Let's just stick to the facts. Okay, whether you're into masks or not, as a Vegas resident, compliance is still very high. And why is that? Because we fear being shut down again. We're constantly being threatened that we're not doing enough, that we don't care enough and all that. But I'll tell you what, that's utter nonsense, because I see people masking and being compliant with our mandates and directives to the T, to the absolute T. In gyms now, even though it's not the mandate, people are wearing masks while they jog on treadmills. People are wearing masks while they're deadlifting, me being one of them, even though it's not mandated, because we want to stay open. So the compliance here has been extremely high. When I go into these properties, everyone's masked. I mean, people are wearing masks from their cars to the elevators. People are wearing masks inside. A couple of people like to point out in my videos, you know, oh, I at 11 minutes and 2 seconds, I saw no social distancing. Oh my God. And I, you know, as a joke, I put, oh my God, with, you know, an apostrophe too. But the thing is, you don't know if they're a couple, you don't know if they're a family, you don't know if they live together. So social distancing, I kind of missed the turn off here. Social distancing, you know, that's relative to strangers per se. So just kind of lay off that in the comments, because you don't know the situation. Which leads me to say, a lot of OSHA doesn't know the situation. Compliance officers don't know the situation. I'm going to have to spin around right here because we were going to go to Park. I don't want to go all the way down to Mandalay Bay. So bear with me and enjoy the beautiful Luxor. You know what? Screw it. We'll go this way. Okay, so people are being hyper compliant, whether they believe in masks or not, because we want our businesses to stay open. Las Vegas is very unique. We have these huge casinos that are employing tens of thousands of people. Each one of them, at least 50,000 people are being employed by these places. But it's also a town of mom and pop businesses. And mom and pop businesses right now are treading water, even if they're open. If they're not open, look at this guy. That's one. I'm going to do pros and cons of Vegas. That's one of the cons of Vegas. Got some shitty drivers in this town. Anyway, so everyone's concerned about getting their business closed, whether we're going to close, whether we're going to stay open. But again, I feel safe because I see that the compliance level in this town, regardless of how people feel about masks, is very, very high. You can drive down a street in Vegas. I'm talking a local street where, you know, locals go and people on YouTube probably never even heard of nor will ever see again. They're wearing masks in the street, walking down without a person within a quarter of a mile from them, and people are wearing masks. People are wearing masks in their car here in Vegas. I suspect people are wearing masks in their bed, to be perfectly honest. If you're gonna wear it in the car, you know, might as well wear it in the bed and various activities in the bed. But that's how compliant things are here. When I go into these casinos, I mean, the first week was a bit hairy, but there's tons of masks, so I replace my mask every single time that I use them. I don't wear my personal masks here because while I'm filming, I don't want to draw attention to myself. It's not about me. I don't wear the blue medical mask when I'm out, you know, shopping or doing what I have to do. But compliance is very, very high here. So I do feel safe. Granted, the people who are coming to the town, there's very few flights coming in right now. And we also have an issue because we were declared a hotspot by the media, not by any health authority. We were declared a hotspot by the media. Some states are requiring that if you visit Las Vegas and you come home, you have to sign paperwork saying that you're going to self-quarantine, otherwise there's $2,000 fine. That's a New York thing, and a bunch of other things. But here, I mean, it's too dark to actually see now, but there's people out here walking in this, let's see the temperature, 105 degrees with masks. There's some people who just heard masks are mandatory, and they're wearing them in their cars. They're wearing them walking through the heat. They're wearing them jogging. They're wearing them lifting weights in the gym. They're wearing them everywhere. There's not a whole lot more that we can do. I mean, we are sincerely doing our best, and whether it's for the reason of protecting our fellow man and showing respect, or whether it's to just simply keep this town open. This here, where we're driving, this is our lifeblood. I mean, 80% of my revenue as a videographer and photographer comes from the Strip. Well, from people visiting Las Vegas. So it is important to me too. So I'm on the bandwagon too. I'm not a mask Nazi, but when I'm required to wear a mask, I wear a mask, and especially in these properties. Excuse me, look in the mirror when I'm filming some of these. You'll see me wearing my mask when I do my lives afterwards. They would toss my ass out if I didn't. You know, so do I want to fight with them? And, no. You know, we have this relationship, you know, they let me do my thing, so I comply with whatever rules they want to make. But everyone's doing it. Everyone in this town is masking. They're masking in their cars, in the gyms, in the restaurants. People who smoke are like, puff mask, puff mask, puff mask. If they're drinking a coffee, sip mask, sip mask, sip mask. And inside these casinos, the security guards will walk directly up to you and say, in between sips, we want to see that mask on, like hall monitors. So it's not out of control here, and it's not really that difficult to comply with. So the notion that it's somehow, you know, out of control here, it's really not. I mean, people are being very respectful, very compliant to the extreme. People in this town, whether visitors and especially locals, are going above and beyond because we want to show our governor that, you know, don't spank us again. You know, we're going out of the way to show him, you know, that we're doing the right thing, which brings me to his speech today. In his speech, he said we're not doing the right thing, which I don't get. I mean, he's up in Carson City. He hired a bunch of OSHA people to inspect. I mean, they're not hiring people for unemployment here, and there's still 140,000 people waiting on their unemployment, but he's hiring more OSHA people to go into these places and inspect. Today, what he said he's going to do is not, he's going to target, listen to this, target individual businesses and properties who are not compliant, not businesses as a whole. So we have another week where we currently are, where there's, now we're going to hit the traffic, so bear with us. So if I get distracted, it's because I don't want to have a problem here, especially with some of you California drivers. Holy shit. So he's going to target individual businesses and not punish what he said, punish industries as a whole. You know, if one bar is not compliant, that bar is going to get spanked if the rest are allowed to open. So that's going to require more of a regulation footprint on the ground, and that's exactly what he plans on doing. His words today were, how did he put it? I'm going to paraphrase, but he said, the time for talk is over, that he is tired of repeating himself, and that the education phase for businesses has passed. Now it's time for consequences. That's what I heard from the governor today. So what does he mean by consequences? Okay, they're doing random inspections. He claims that some of these casinos are not being compliant in certain areas inside the casino. And I'm suspecting the pool areas because, you know, holy cow, you're sitting out in the sun, it's 110. You know, you're trying to keep hydrated, and, you know, if one of these OSHA inspectors happens to be there, you know, they're just sitting there. I've seen them. I was at a Walmart where they had an OSHA inspector, and, you know, young enough to be my grandkid there with a tablet pressing a button, and I suspect those buttons say, you know, this person's wearing a mask, this person's not, this person is, this person's not, as well as overall occupancy. So they're not going to look into extenuating circumstances. Wow, this person's still swallowing, you know, their water. No, they see someone without a mask. So he pointed out that some of the properties are not being compliant and the time for talk is over. So he was asked, which brings me to popular question number 2. Have I heard any rumors that the properties are closing? And I keep my ear to the ground at all time, and my track record has been solid. The only thing, if you follow me all the way back to the beginning of my drive time talks, the only thing I've been incorrect so far about, and you can call me on it, is I said that it would be the casinos would be at 40% capacity, and it turns out they were allowed 50% capacity, and I'm thrilled with that. And that's one area I prefer to be incorrect about, so that's cool. So my track record has been good, and I've been keeping my ear to the ground. So there was an almost 3-week absence where we were spoken to by the governor. And yes, I've heard a ton of rumors, we're closing on the 1st. No, we're not going to close. And here's what the governor said. So take it from the governor's mouth. We're not going to close as a whole. Unless things go just buck wild, the Strip is not going to close. So your trip is safe. Your venture into Vegas is safe. You'll have a great time. But here's what the governor said. He said that when he sends the OSHA inspectors and the Gaming Control Board into these properties, what he is going to do is treat them as individuals and treat the areas within the casino as individual. So you could have the Wynn right here being completely compliant in every single area, including the pool, and their pools stay open, their bars after 1 week, because it's just 1 week we're waiting here, our bars might reopen. Then you might have the property, a block down and go to the Venetian, and some OSHA inspector catches, 4 out of 50 people not wearing a mask because they're swallowing their beer. They might get spanked in that specific area. They might say, okay, guess what? Your pool is getting closed for a week. That's how it's going to go. Your pool's going to be closed for the week, or this restaurant's going to be closed for the week, or you have to put manpower at the elevators to make sure that more than 4 people are not getting on an elevator at any specific time. That's what's going to take place. So the Strip as a whole is not in jeopardy of closing as a whole, at least not at this point. And I don't see it in the foreseeable future. What will happen is, as I just said, if specific areas or venues or activities within a property are not up to his standard of compliance, they will be closed, possibly fined, but closed individually. So if this ride, say the, the roller coaster at New York, if they fail compliance, that might close, but the whole property is not going to close. So feel secure in that, at least, that the whole Strip is not in jeopardy of closing right now. And let's see, I wanted to talk about, again, didn't want to get in too deep, but the numbers here in Vegas, because it does seem to be an issue, because it's being brought, we're on the world stage. This is Las Vegas. I am driving down Las Vegas Boulevard. So we're on the world stage. So when you hear our numbers are this and our numbers are that, and, is it safe to go? Yes, it's safe to go. I feel safe. I'm in and out of these properties all the time, but we covered that about 20 minutes ago. But here's what happened. There was a close to 3-week absence from our governor telling us what the heck was going on. So there was a sense of dread up and down the strips, speaking to the employees, speaking to the suits, speaking to the pit crews. There was a sense of dread here, because we're all like, oh my God, we haven't heard from this guy. We getting shut down again? So what happened was this. Last week, the federal government sent in their own auditors, statisticians, and the like, because ultimately, whether we like it or not, yes, this is a physical disease, but it's mostly being handled by statisticians, number crunchers, and data, however you like to pronounce it, analysts. because there's no precedent for it. So all they can do is look at the numbers and say, well, this is working, this is not, based on the numbers we have in front of you. And of course, you know, that ties into medical records and all that, but that's how it's taking place. So the governor, we were ranked very, very high before the federal government stepped in and they said, yeah, okay, you are, you know, kind of a hot spot over there. So we're going to send some people in, our own people, and give you a quick little checkup from the neck up and do an audit and see what's what over there in Vegas. So guess what? We went from a hot spot. I don't know what was going on with our numbers. I'm not going to speculate. You know, maybe if we were sitting down driving, I'd speculate, but I'm not going to speculate, you know, on the video here. But suddenly, our numbers went from the worst or the highest in the country down to the lowest in the country in a matter of 72 hours. Go figure. How did that happen? I don't know, higher compliance, maybe the numbers weren't all that accurate, but there's a metric that they use that if you're over 1% and whatever, you're considered a hot spot. We're down now under 1%. We're like 0.94, which is in the safe zone and one of the safest considering our population of 3 million. How that's going to translate into what the media is going to report, I don't know. They might still run with the, oh my God, it's a hot spot, but that's not the case. And that came from the governor's own mouth. We went within a week of being a hot spot to being one of the best in the country. So interpret that as you will, but we're doing fine. Our hospitals are not being overrun. It's safe here. And if masks are your thing, you're going to see them everywhere. You're going to see people changing them every 5 minutes. You're going to see compliance like you never saw before, because we are all concerned, and it's a community effort, all of us, because we are a community here. I'm just going to hang a Yui right here. Beautiful Circus Circus. Circus Circus is pretty awesome lately. I enjoyed walking through that place, and I've been back twice. It's clean, it's pristine, it's basically smoke-free. Circus Circus, it's all right. Anyway, so we're compliant AF. So whatever you're hearing on the news, wherever you happen to live, I got to get away from this curb. There's people walking the street. Whatever you happen to hear on the news, kind of blow that off. The other issue that, not totally, you know, no one's out of the woods, and we still got to take this seriously, but it's not from the governor's own mouth, and he reiterated what the feds are helping them with, which is a goal, a game plan. Now they have metrics to follow that they never had before, and all this other stuff. So it's safe. The other problem that they talked about today was our reporting numbers, in some cases from some labs, are about 14 days behind. And that's not good for anything when you're trying to make up-to-the-minute decisions. So even if you take one of those half-hour or 15-minute, I don't know what it is, tests, they stick a swab into the back of your brain. If you do one of those, you still might not get the results for 14 days. So that was called out. The Fed is like, what's going on here? We're getting numbers that were apparently high, but they're backdated 2 weeks. So we're in a lot better shape as a town, as a community, and as a hotspot destination for the world in terms of our numbers. And I just wanted to get that out there. That's fact. You can look it up. You should feel safe here. Now, someone mentioned today, which I happen to agree, do you feel safe on a plane? that's up to you. I haven't been on a plane lately. I don't know what the procedures are. I don't know what the compliance is. I don't know how they take care of the planes in between passengers. I don't know all that. So I don't know. Do you feel safe on a plane? If you're a traveler, leave a comment below. Let me know if you feel safe on a plane or not. But I feel safe in this town. I mean, there's extra manpower in every one of these properties. Person power, woman power. There's more effort, let's just put it that way, into keeping everything clean. I see them walking around with these UV sprayers, spraying down the machine. In some of these properties, they're so on top of it that if you sit down at a machine and you get up, you'd swear someone was just breathing down your neck, ready to wipe that thing down. And they also have these disinfectant, like industrial size Lysol disinfectant wipe things that you can do it yourself. So we're a very compliant place. We've been doing everything that we need to do in order to stay open. Like I said, politics aside, personal belief about masks and all this other stuff aside, as a community, we want to stay open, and that's our goal. Some would say it doesn't matter how good we do, you know, we're still getting grief, we're still getting punished and this and that, but punished on a local level. But we have another week to go. The governor said that he is now going to give weekly reports. So we're no longer in a phase system. No more phase 1, phase 2, phase 20. That is over. He called that a dead issue. And with, I'm sure, insistence from the federal government. But that's a dead issue. So we're going to go week to week to week from now on. So we're going another week with status quo, which is bars closed and, you know, everything that we're all accustomed to and everything that we're all familiar with. I'm not going to say new norm, even though I just said it, but damn, I hate that. New norm my ass, you know, because I want this to be over. So let's stop calling it a new norm. Let's stop letting people call it a new norm. That kind of suggests that this is the way things are going to be, and they're not. I promise you that. Definitely going to get better. Doubt they're getting worse. So anyway, wow, that's, can you see that up there? That's pretty beautiful. So, no more phases. We're going week to week. So we have another week, and we're going to go week to week. He's going to report back to us what's going on. That way, myself as a small business person, that way everyone out there as a small business person knows what to expect. But the overall thing is, he claims his decisions from now on are not going to be phase-based. Just to summarize, they are going to be, or industry-based, they are going to be individual. Like he said, the time for talk is over. Now it's time for consequences. So, and he also said, I feel like I'm in the back seat as a child when this guy talks. He said, it's up to you whether we stay open or not. It's up to each and every one of you if this town stays open or not. That's it. That's what this guy said. You know, that's not leadership. We're not children. You know, we're going above and beyond. We've cleaned our room. We've done our chores. You know, there's no reason to talk to us as a citizenry like that. Okay, that's political, but I don't appreciate being talked down to like that. But he is definitely going to go after individual businesses and individual zip codes. That's another thing. He didn't release what zip codes, but he said certain zip codes are more of a problem area than not. So we shall see what takes place there. So if you're in this zip code and you run a bar and you want to open that bar, you might not be able to, but the guy across the street in the different zip code might be able to open his bar or his restaurant or his whatever because of zip code. So it's, in one way it's good. That way everyone's not going to be punished, but it's going to be tricky. So stay tuned for a week by week, and I'll bring it to you live if I can. You know, I'll try to summarize. This wasn't exactly a summary, but I am going to do a summary now. I'll go back to the original question. Do I feel safe going in and out of these casinos like I do on a regular basis? Because I'm producing almost daily videos. And I will say with a resounding voice, yes, I do. Because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Everyone around me is doing what they're supposed to do. Alcohol consumption is lower than normal because there's certain ways to get drinks with a meal or at a machine. You just can't walk up to the bar and, you know, hit me with 3 fingers of scotch. I mean, that's just not happening. So the alcohol, you know, people can get belligerent. I ain't wearing this fucking mask, you know, and all that type of nonsense. But no, everything, I haven't been in the pool areas too much, but there is compliance above and beyond. So I feel completely safe. I'm healthy. I take care of myself. I exercise daily. I hit the gym. I try to eat right. Believe it or not, here's one for you. They're not paying me, but I use Zicam regularly, and I rarely get anything. That new Zicam with it's a non-zinc based formula, that shit is good. It keeps me healthy. Like I said, keep yourself healthy, keep active. If you're into masks, you'll have no problem here whatsoever. So yes, I do feel safe. I want everyone out there to feel safe when they come to this town, which is my town. This is basically my backyard. If you notice from where I drive from, it's never too far. I'm not giving that away, but I'm in my backyard right now. And I want everyone who's out there to come and enjoy being in my backyard. So feel safe. You're not going to be... You're in no way are you going to feel awkward. In no way are you going to feel compromised coming to this town. As far as whether it's going to close, which is big question number 2, no, we are not going to close as a whole. That, rumors be damned, I don't think we are going to close. Now, individual casinos might have certain aspects of their property closed if they find non-compliance, but as a whole, we're open. This isn't going anywhere. So I want everyone to feel comfortable, to feel confident, and here we are in Vegas waiting for you all to come back. And on that note, Bror, Fredrik out.